Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we're really excited. Today, we are taking a break from Christmas, believe it. And we're talking about the Groomsmen Trilogy that aired on Hallmark Plus. And I do not understand why they were thinking with airing this when they did, but it's a pretty cute little trilogy. So we'll talk about it. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Sari's here.
Hey,
Yeah.
happy to be back.
Yeah, we're recording this on Halloween, so happy Halloween.
Halloween.
Yes.
What do you
Y-
think? Trick or treat? What was
yeah, it's so funny. There's that I did a review on Rachel's reviews of the Disney short Trick or Treat, which is a Donald short. It's really cute, and Donald does trick Huey, Louie, and Dewey. He gives them a firecracker, and he gets them all wet and everything, and I don't know, I just found that kind of funny. Like, we usually don't think of the trick as being like an option
yeah. Oh,
anymore.
uh-huh.
But I hope everybody has a fun day. And so let's dive in. Let's talk about these groomsmen. And the reason why I say I'm baffled by the placement of this trilogy is because is because like everybody is like full Christmas mode in the Hallmark fandom. And the only people that are subscribed to Disney Plus, to Hallmark Plus, the only people that are subscribed to Hallmark Plus would be the hardcore Hallmark content fans, would be the hardcore Hallmark fans. And they are all pretty much in Christmas mode. And so I just don't understand why they didn't air this like way early. There were literally like couple weeks before, like the end of, they could have started at the end of September, been finished the first week of Christmas movies, and then have no conflict, because you have literally, I think the third one airs today, and you have one of the biggest stars of Hallmark, Tyler Hines, in a movie, and nobody is talking about it. It has absolutely no buzz. It's doing them nothing. And it's just baffling to me. Like, I cannot understand. And it's not that, I mean, there were some in the screeners that we saw, there was some like ADR and visual effects and things like that not done, but we still got it at the beginning of September. We got these screenings, and it's just like so bonkers to me that they start out Hallmark Plus with the Love on the Danube series. Don't give that to critics to screen. Don't give it to anybody to screen, even though that's what they're starting with. And they give us the Groomsmen and Holidays to screen, even though they're not going to air it until October. Like, what is going on? Like, why would you do that? It makes no sense. Why would you screen stuff that's not being, and not screen the stuff that is like, and if, like, I can't understand it. Like, if you want people to sign up for Hallmark Plus, why would you have it conflict your big event, Groomsmen? Why would you have that conflict with Countdown to Christmas? It makes no sense.
I mean, this could be a sign of things with the change of Hallmark Plus. I think. I think maybe they're just in all the changes they're making, it could be that their content, they are taking leaps into new content, and maybe it's like, hey, this is a streaming service where you can see all kinds of Hallmark content all year round. I
But
get
they could have done that 3 weeks ago, where it wouldn't have conflicted it, and they could have actually given
totally.
it attention, and it could have actually gotten more people to subscribe. Now it's doing them literally nothing. Like, there is not a human being on this planet that signed up for Hallmark Plus to see one of these movies. Nobody even knows about it because everybody's focused on Christmas. It's crazy. Like, like you're a much nicer person than I am, because I'm just like, they are incompetent. Like, they are terrible at their jobs. And you're like, oh,
Positively
like,
listening.
how could they possibly not do it? And yeah, like I said, there were things that needed to be fixed when they gave it to us, but like, I it was basically, it was almost done.
And that
So
could
I don't believe that it's a wasn't ready kind of situation. It, uh I just I
Very
just
hard.
think they're really terrible at branding, and I think they're really terrible about making some of these like they're really terrible about release strategies and marketing. I can help them so much. Like I mean marketing. Like
Good job at Hallmark.
I worked in marketing for over 10 years. I'm not like just
I
some
think
hodum, like podcaster person. Like I have an MBA. Like I kind of know a little bit about what I'm talking about here.
well, and
And
you're a fan and you're a critic,
and
so
I'm a fan and I'm a critic and member of the press. And I mean, and like what's required these days to get something viral, to get people talking about it, to get people, it takes a lot of eyeballs on something to convince people to make a purchase, convince people to tune in, kind of things. There's so much out there there's so much out there that's vying for people's eyeball space, for people's viewing time. And it's just bonkers that literally they're cannibalizing themselves because their big thing is Countdown to Christmas. There's not a human being on the planet that's like, I'm gonna rather watch this Groomsman and instead I'll watch Countdown. Like, I'm gonna watch this Groomsman and not watch Countdown to Christmas. That is not a thing.
what if it's like, but also instead of, so when it's kind of like a pleasant surprise where you get there and you're like, oh, and I can also binge watch this, or I can
Yeah.
also get into this.
I think that what it is I'm like 99.9% sure that like basically we're gonna I would be shocked if this does not air on Hallmark Channel in February. I
That
think this will totally be the February lineup will be the Groomsmen Trilogy. It'll be it's their premiere and whatever.
you know what
And
that certainly could be. And if you
and so
are subscribed to Hallmark Plus, then you get a sneak peek of things before things come out on the Hall. I've
yeah.
read a lot of comments where that was something that like fans have been like, I like, please let this air on the Hallmark Channel. Please let this air, like I can't
So you
subscribe.
don't want to sign up for Hallmark
I
Plus.
can't subscribe to another streaming service. Like, please, it could be one of those situations. Listen, I applaud Hallmark for stepping out of just their standard traditional
Uh-huh.
stuff. Like I think they're making moves in ways that are confusing and like people are
They
like,
just should have had it 3 weeks sooner.
what?
That's the
No,
only thing. Like, if they'd had it 3 weeks sooner, they would have had it before Countdown to Christmas, and it would have gotten the attention that it deserves, and they would have actually had people sign up for Hallmark Plus for it. But like, just everybody's in Christmas mode right now in the fandom.
yes,
Everyone,
yes.
and so like, there was this really cute little movie on Up TV called Return to Sender. Really fun, and I tried to get some like people to watch it and stuff, and it was hard because everybody's just like, oh, I'm in Christmas.
You know what? I think you're onto something though. I think you hit the nail on the head. I feel like you're totally right. They're gonna test it out now. Not test it, but like put it out now on the streaming service, and then come February, it's gonna be it's gonna be on the Hallmark Channel. I totally think you're right.
I just think that they just missed like a huge opportunity. I think if they had had it 3 weeks sooner, so that Tyler's movie did not conflict with the Christmas movie, Countdown did not conflict with Christmas. So that Tyler's movie did not conflict in Jonathan's movie with Countdown to Christmas. I think that they would have gotten way more subscribers, way more people interested.
Well, they also have Christmas stuff coming up too. I mean,
Yeah,
they've got other things that are gonna roll out. So,
yeah.
you know, it's
It's bonkers. It's bonkers. I mean, Hallmark, if you're listening, I'm available. I can help you a lot. I really could.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
But anyway, that doesn't have anything really to do with the actual 3 movies. They were actually, however incompetently marketed they were actually a pretty cute little group of movies. Would you agree?
Oh, totally agree. Totally agree. I think I'm curious which one your favorite is.
Yeah. Well, so there's the Groomsmen First Look, there's Groomsmen Second Chances, and then Groomsmen Last Dance. And I think the second one was by far the best.
Me too.
Yeah, by far.
I thought about it after, and I'm like, I wonder if it's because Jonathan is at the helm of everything, like his
Yeah.
story was like, yeah, second one was my favorite.
His was just the tightest. It was the least boring. I think the other 2 had kind of slow spots that were a little boring. And I just think his was just the tightest as far as the classic friends to lovers story. And yeah, like all aspects of all 3 of these movies we've seen a million times, but like there's comfort in that predictability, and I'm fine with it. I have no problem. I mean, the thing that made it unpredictable or fresh is the fact that it was the dudes that were the focus.
Yes.
Yeah. So
like
you can have all these see, that's what's nice about being more inclusive as storytellers, is that you can basically tell the same stories, but it feels fresh because it's from a different perspective than we typically have.
Yeah. No, totally. I like the idea that it was set up as a trilogy too. I mean, I do in that respect, like the way it was released, and then like you have just this overarching story and the way it comes together, everything because you're wondering, there's the character in the beginning who we find out in the end, how where she fits into this whole groomsman situation. And I don't know, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Kept me engaged in all 3 of them, whereas I feel like if it were just one movie or a series, it would feel a little different. But it was like the stories set up like that, it worked.
Yeah, I was going to ask, so what did you think of this framing device? So you have this mystery of the runaway bride in all 3 movies, and we see her, narrating the stories basically to this woman at this bar. And then our reveal in the 3rd one is that she is Tyler's daughter, and that there was this, I forget who that kid is.
He's the one from the beginning at the
no, I know, but like how he's related, is a nephew or somebody like that, or
no, I think he's
Milo.
Oh yeah, I think he's just, I didn't really get that, like where.
Yeah, I forgot. I think they might have said something, but I can't remember. But it has been a few weeks since I watched these movies, so I'm sorry if things are a little thanks, but
I get it. I did, that was not a strong storyline at all. It was like, oh
yeah, it was just like mentioned. But anyway, there's this kid Milo. He really likes the girl, the daughter, Betty and Milo.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that's Tyler's daughter. And so that's sort of the big reveal, and that she's doing this runaway bride thing because she doesn't feel like her love story can match up with these great love stories that she's always heard her whole life, for these 3, the 3 groomsmen. And I thought that was charming. I enjoyed that.
Very much so. Did you know that it was her? Did you have any throughout? Yeah.
No.
I mean, I had no clue how she fit into this. It was really cool how Hallmark did this, like unexpected. Like, usually things are pretty predictable. And
Yeah.
there's a little bit of unexpected twists I feel like they've been throwing in with their content lately.
Yeah.
There's one
It
of
was
them.
nice. I
I
liked it too.
I didn't see
Uh,
the
so this trilogy is directed by Ron Oliver, and I think you can really see his hand in it. I mean, he's a pro, he's very experienced, and there is a slickness and a craft and he's just really good at making these rom-coms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I
And
think
and then it's written by Greg Baldwin. I guess Jonathan Bennett was involved with the writing, and Rick Garman, who's like a legend in Hallmark. He's really great. So they had like I think a pretty good team, which I guess is another reason why I just feel like, why did you waste this? Like, why? I just don't understand. Like, you put all the like I guess what confuses me is when I feel like people make non-self-interested decisions, like or decisions against their self-interest. Like, they should be motivated to get this out as soon as possible. They should be motivated to get this out before. They should have done everything in their power to have this out before Countdown to Christmas. Everything. Like, whether even if you had to release them in a block, all three, like that would be preferable than it conflicting. There's no argument that could be made that making especially Tyler's movie conflict with Countdown to Christmas was a good idea. That was a terrible idea. And that's what, just like, why put all these resources? Why like really try? And then just like, what? Like, it's so, I know, it's so bizarre to me. I just can't get over it. But anyway, so so this first movie, we have first look, and it's a pediatrician and overseas doctor meet at a wedding in Philadelphia, but the long distance family and their friends may hinder their budding romance. So the leads are BJ Britt and Heather Hemmings. And overall, what do you think about this one?
I liked this. I placed this at number two. In
I agree.
like of what it was a good start off. It set the tone. It set the characters up. It set the story up. I really liked. I liked their relationship. I liked BJ Britt in this a lot. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And overall, it was a sweet story. I mean, the thing about the groomsmen that I liked, like the overall love story, I felt like is this friendship. Because no matter
Yeah.
what's going on in their love lives, and we see each of it in each of these movies, it's like all of a sudden they just show up and they're there
Yeah.
when that character's love story is like when they're going through a tough time, they're just, these, this like a tripod. You got it's like it's cool. Like it's cool how they did that. So I feel like they set it up really well in the first one. And
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, I liked the framing device. I enjoyed that. I think that this movie is strongest before like the real wedding part starts to happen. I liked the like, it was fun like seeing, I think it's the best Hallmark has ever done, like video chatting and long distance relationship. And a lot of times they act like in Hallmark that that's just like a complete deal breaker. It's a non-starter. That, oh well, we live in different places, therefore we can't fall in love. And I'm like, you both are rich doctors, like you can figure it out. Like, you know.
adjustments, and I mean you do. It's everybody
But
adjustments.
like the stuff between like the two moms, like and them getting lost was kind of bizarre. Like going camping, like that was strange. So some of the stuff like the wedding and then this like big tsunami, like a lot of that stuff in the bottom half didn't really work as well for me. But I do think they had excellent chemistry. I liked him like preparing for the first video chat. It's like, oh, we got to have the right background. We got to like that almost felt sort of pandemic-y, which
Yeah.
was fun. And I've never really seen Hallmark kind of go there with any of their movies.
Good point. I really liked his character. I'm on the same page with you too. It was like that second part kind of started to lose me a little bit. I felt like
Yeah.
half of it was really strong. Yeah.
But I mean, are there two more beautiful human beings in the world than BJ Pratt and Heather Hemmings? Oh my,
I know. I know.
they are. And Heather Hemmings just slayed every dress she put on. I mean, when she's wearing the original wedding dress that she doesn't like that much, it was sort of hard to like completely buy it because she's just so beautiful that it's like, oh, it still looks so great. Like if there's any human being that could wear a potato sack, could wear burlap and a sack and it'd be absolutely stunning, it is her.
So true. Just her,
She's so pretty.
she's so good in this role. Like from
Yeah.
her speech when she gets up to give her speech, you know, like she's so
Yeah.
fit with BJ's character, and then she, you know, gets up to give. She has this moment of like, you know, where you start to see their connection form. But she's so good, and he's
Yeah.
good, and they're so good together. I
Yeah,
thought
they had a nice chemistry. I like when he's like chasing after her and he's like, I need to work on my cardio. That was funny. I liked that. And I also liked that they had, again, like using the same tropes that we know and love, but using them on guys and
yes,
guys that like, and so an example in this movie, they have that whole makeover scene where he's trying all the different suits and he's like, and again, you usually see that for girls, you know, the makeover scene, lose the glasses, fly straighten the hair, you know, the kind of thing. And and so but it felt kind of fresh because you don't see it as often with the guys.
and they're all different. Like I love that too. It's like
Hmm.
it's just it's a very diverse friend group. Like they are all
Yeah.
successful in their own right, and they all have different careers, and they're all like different personalities.
Yeah.
Like bonded by
And
love.
Jonathan was really funny in that that makeover scene. He's like, I just can't with this.
So I loved him in this. Like I fully embrace. Like you could tell that he created it. You could tell that like this was his. Just the hit. He shined through it. Like his
Yeah.
personality, you know, when you like see him in person and he's got that, it really shined through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so it ended up being, you know, overall real cute movie. And I like when they go on their dates and they're like at the fancy restaurant. She's like, "Do you want to leave?" And it was this was a pretty good example of like love at first sight, like an insta love kind of story. And and I some people are like, "Oh, that's so unrealistic." But they did like communicate for a long time after that. And I don't think it's unrealistic. I think you can totally have that spark. And I don't know. I think sometimes when you know, and it is pretty instantaneous.
Absolutely. Love at first sight does exist.
Yeah.
That trope exists for a reason.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah, I really do. And I forget why the heck she's in Bulgaria. I can't even remember, but that's where
It it had to be a work thing.
yeah. So she's working at like a hospital in Bulgaria, so it's random. But they're able to work it out in the I think it's the third movie they drop a thing about how he moved to Bulgaria, which was cute.
Part-time, he said.
Like I said, they're rich doctors. They can have multiple homes.
I mean, yeah, again, like they show up where they're needed, like
Yeah.
superheroes. Like so, whenever the
Yeah.
character is distressed in some faraway country, which was also really cool that they did. I love that they shot on location here. Like you got to see it.
Yeah.
You got to see.
This one the least of them. They don't really show, Bulgaria much, um but they certainly show lots of Greece and lots of, yeah. So, and then the wedding at the end and it's like she wanted to get married on the beach and but her mom wasn't a fan of it and she ends up getting the wedding that she wants, which of course is what you want. So,
Yeah, and his
uh
to officiate how that ties in later. But yeah.
yeah. So yeah, this one I would probably give like a 3.75 out of 5.
Yeah. I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I really.
Yeah. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the good folks at Harper Road Press and Lindsay Gibson and her new book, The Christmas Coin. Professional ballet dancer Amelia Collins is blindsided when an accident causes a career-ending injury. With no other options but to start over, she leaves city life behind to remodel a country home in the quaint village of Whitebridge, Connecticut. Running on nothing but hope, she moves in only weeks before Christmas. Then she discovers an old European coin with a story while loading some boxes into her attic. A story that might upend everything, especially when single dad Benjamin Walsh finds out about it, and when she learns he's in charge of her remodel. She isn't quite sure how the holiday will go. You can find out more about The Christmas Coin and all the great books from Harper's Road at harpersroad.com. You can purchase The Christmas Coin wherever you do your holiday book shopping, or you can use the affiliate link below. That's The Christmas Coin by Lindsay Gibson. We know you'll love it. So yeah, this one I would probably give like a 3.75 out of 5.
Yeah. I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I really.
Yeah. So then, second chances, we have Danny finds the courage to admit his romantic feelings for his best friend when he is asked to be the best man at his wedding in Greece. So we both agree this one's the strongest.
Absolutely. Hands down.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Danny's in love with Zach, but Zach is in a relationship with Nolan. And then Zach asks, and you get the feeling that Zach had been interested in Danny, but Danny was like clueless to it, didn't care, kind of treated him, kind of friend zoned him. And it wasn't until Zach started dating Nolan that all of a sudden he has this like epiphany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My best friend's wedding.
Yeah. Best friend's wedding. And but more obviously with Hallmark, they're not going to make somebody as unlikable as Julia Roberts is in that movie. I mean, she really is the villain. Like, I mean, but it's fine because she doesn't end up with the guy. Like, if she ended up with Dermot Mulroney in that movie, it would be a horrible movie.
Even looking back, it hasn't aged well. Looking back on it now, you're like, oh.
Well, I mean, I think I think I haven't watched it for a long time, so maybe I'd be interested to revisit it. But I think the subversion of the genre was so interesting, especially at that time when there were so many rom-coms being made. So to have your lead character be kind of unlikable and end up not getting the guy at the end was really refreshing.
Yeah.
And so I mean I think it's very key to that movie working is that she doesn't win because she doesn't deserve to win.
No, but even unlikable characters should be likable in a way. Like even if that movie, that movie is one of those that you look. I wrote a whole article on that.
Oh, you did?
Like a lot of years ago about movies that just you look at now that you watched when you were younger and you're. I'm rooting for that guy. Like that guy did awful things. Why did I want him to win? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, like again, it's been a while since I watched it, but like I feel like she gets her comeuppance in the end. So I don't really feel that bad because she learned her lesson.
Yeah. But you still root, strangely enough, you're still supposed to root for her, which makes it weird, which is like I'm rooting for this person. They're actually what they're doing is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Which was not in the Groomsmen, which was not these characters were very likable. You wanted them.
Yeah. Very likable. And he's trying to plan this wedding. And of course, Nolan is kind of, I mean, they try at the end to make this like, he really wasn't a bad guy or whatever, but he really is your like classic bad man of business. He is like completely obsessed with work. And that's all he cares about.
You kept wanting to shake him and be like, this is going to be your life. Wake up. He kept saying like, after the wedding, you know, once this is done, it's like, this is the life you're stepping into. You're choosing to, you know, I like relationship play out. I mean, you obviously knew it was going to happen. Like you knew they were
Yeah.
put together, obviously. But I liked seeing how it did, like even when Jonathan's character first, like starts opening up about it, it still takes them a minute to get.
Yeah.
So,
And uh Danny kind of realizes his feelings, especially once they start like going suit shopping, and they have kind of a moment where they, one of those rom-com moments where they're looking at each other, and and so they get to Greece, they plan the wedding, and they get to Greece, and the winery is shut down, everything is ruined that they'd planned. So now they need to try. They've got like 2 weeks to plan everything there in Greece, and so that was fun. This was the most like, well, no, the next one's pretty immersive too, but we really did get to see quite a bit of Greece, which was nice.
beautiful. It made
Yeah.
me my boyfriend and I talk about it all the time. Italy are at the top of our list. So I'm like, and he watches all.
Yeah. I went to Greece when I was 17, Italy and Greece. And it was an incredible trip. I'd love to go back one of these days. I'd love to go back.
Yeah, you really did feel like they did a really good job at capturing the beauty of what was going on. And yes, in both of them. And in Italy too, I liked what they did with like the smaller town feel where you're like in a anyway, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, so then we have like all of these scenes of them, and the was it the head of the inn, right? The caterer, like, and the I can't remember, but there's some of the people helping the florist. I think it's the florist and the caterer. They end up kind of having a thing, which is cute.
I
And
I think my theory in that too is that he was the first husband that she was talking about.
mhm.
She has that moment where she talks about where she's giving him advice on should you have, cold feet the day of your wedding kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
whole thing of like, don't see him. Right.
So I liked the whole scene where he builds the baseball cage thing on the beach for
Yeah.
him. That and he like he's not a baseball guy, but he does it for his friend. And that was a fun scene. And then after that, it's all kind of, they almost kiss, and then Nolan shows up, stops them, and he's like, "What just happened?" Just fun. Uh, and then he basically, it's sort of like the rehearse. It's before the rehearsal, or after it's the space. They're in that space, and he tells him that Danny tells Zach that he's in love with him, and doesn't want him to get married, and everything, and that was very sweet and endearing.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
They really unlayered that relationship nicely because it started off with like, should we talk about the almost kiss? This is where like the groomsmen and again like they show up. They're just they appear like the day before the wedding of like, we know we're here be here, but we're here, so the advice that he's getting throughout is like, don't tell him, don't tell us at the heart of like all of their relationships, all of their romances. You could still see the bond with these three guys.
Well, that's what makes Friends to Lovers so good, because like I think there is some truth to it, that like once that is out there, there's really no going back. And can you like still be friends with somebody that you've told that you're in love with them?
Especially if
I don't know. I don't know if you can.
that whole relationship would have changed anyway because
Especially if Nolan knew, if Nolan found out. Say that Danny tells Zach, and then Zach continues on with the marriage, gets married. There's pretty much no way that they could be friends at that point. Like,
That
it's
relationship
just,
toxic real quick. That goes from
yeah.
happy ending love story to like toxic. Like,
Yeah. So that's what makes it so good. That's why Friends to Lovers is such a good dynamic, because you're feeling this chemistry, but like literally, if you admit it, it probably will be the end of the relationship if it doesn't go the way that you want, and you've invested so much in this friendship. It's so that's what makes it so compelling.
it's very
Time and again.
yeah, very metaphorical when he asks him to take the leap. Like, let's take the
Mm-hmm.
leap together, you know, because it is.
Yeah, there's this it's not a cliff, but there's a jumping off point, whatever. I don't know what you call it, but anyway, there's like a dock kind of thing. And at first Zach won't do it. And basically like they're like a yin and yang, because Danny he wants to be more of a free spirit, where Zach has to have everything planned and everything kind of, you know. And so when it gets to the day of the wedding, everyone thinks it's going to go through, and you have our three guys there, and Zach comes up to him, and he throws his bow tie into the ocean. Like, that was very expensive. See, not everything is planned. Which was really cute. And then I loved the fact that so then they jump up a year later. And I love the fact that they were all in blue suits, except for they had black bow ties on. Because that's the one he threw into the, you know.
Oh, good catch.
I thought that was very clever. Because usually you don't mix blue and black, you know. So that was fun. And all I've been thinking about is the future.
Oh.
Yeah. It was great. And maybe we should jump off. Why don't we? So it was fun. I would give this one a pretty high score for Hallmark. I was very satisfied and entertained with it. So I'd probably give it like, I don't know, I'd probably give it like 4.5. I liked this one a lot.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Let's see here. And I forgot to say, so Zach is played by Alexander Lincoln, is the actor's name, and I liked him. He was really good.
He was great, and I loved their chemistry together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed just everything about it.
Yeah. So the last movie, Groomsmen The Last Dance, is Jackson moves to Italy to be near his daughter, but a chance meeting with cafe owner Gabriella and some meddling friends may lead to a second chance at love. So this is your least favorite as well, of the three. Yeah, it's fine. I think this is perfectly watchable, and it's probably one of the better Tyler movies lately, because he hasn't really been working for me that well in the last couple of years. When he first started, there was like a very sweet humility to Tyler Hines in his roles. There's like an aw shucks kind of quality to it. And the last couple of years, he's really been playing up like the movie star, the like literally his Christmas movie last year. He was like the popular guy from high school that everybody idolized, you know, and it's like, oh, and he was in a movie where he's like, there were so many shots of him like on the motorcycle, taking off the helmet, and like, oh, I'm so cool. And that doesn't do it for me. I get it that it does it for a lot of the heinies, and you know, more power to you. But just me personally, I liked kind of the sweet, humble, more awkward, little nerdy. Like, that's why I like the Three Men and a Baby, the Three Wise Men and a Baby. I like him in that more than some of these other solo projects, because he is kind of nerdy in that. He is like, you know, this video game guy and lives in his mom's basement and stuff. Like, that's more endearing to me than like, look how cool I am getting off my motorcycle. And so at least for this, like, it was nice to see him being a dad. It was nice to see him being like a little more grounded and, you know, just more likable, I think, than other recent roles.
Yeah. Well,
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
interesting the way that you say that, because I felt like he was meant to play a character that is a little bit more grounded and like, yeah, the single dad and the little bird and the one who he's like honest and authentic and real, but how it comes across is like that cool guy.
Yeah, there was still some of that for sure.
For sure. So
Yeah.
it felt like it straddled both.
Yeah.
That was a little bit more of a hard sell for me, where I was I love him. I really,
Yeah.
personally
Like if anybody in Tyler's team is listening, we like humble Tyler. Humble Tyler is in my opinion, way sexier than movie star Tyler. But this one was perfectly entertaining. It was just a little boring. It just like all the stuff with like her wanting her dad to sign over the restaurant and the various shenanigans. I don't know. They just weren't. And things with his daughter was nice. It was nice. It was just a little slow, I think.
Yeah, I think also, like, I don't know why, because I felt like individually their characters were all very strong, but I feel like their connection felt a little off to me. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they didn't have much chemistry, these two.
I wanted them to. Like, I kept looking at them and I was like, there's got to be
Yeah,
like I didn't, and
I
they
agree.
hate it for
I even wrote that in my notes. I was like, there's just not that spark. But
yeah.
like I think the stuff with his daughter, there were some nice moments with that. He goes to stay with her while his ex is working, doing something anyway. And it goes down there to help. And are there like the meet cute, he almost hits her with a car, like in classic Hallmark fashion, like the vehicular homicide meet cute.
Easy to fall in love with someone
I laughed at that We Live in Time or whatever, the Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh movie. Like they meet by a vehicular she hits him with her car. I'm like, that is, I mean, I think that's why I'm still single, is because I haven't been involved in enough car accidents.
gotta get out more.
Yeah, I know. My car's too reliable. I don't get in the way of moving vehicles enough.
It's down. You have a breakdown while you're driving through a small town. Really neat. It's like the transition goes. It's got to be Christmas time. You're
Yeah, exactly.
treated nice. Like that's the thing.
So it turns out she's basically like the landlord of the place and that he's staying, uh, and so she comes over and they have some cute scenes, like when he's going to find tomatoes. There's no canned tomatoes, so he has to go and buy tomatoes, and they meet at the market, and so it's kind of enemies to lovers. She's obviously upset with him for almost hitting, or for hitting her with the car. So I mean, it makes sense, but
Yeah.
she kind of comes around. The masquerade party I thought was fun.
Yes.
That was pretty good. And then they go off to like Italy to meet her, to talk to her dad, and the car breaks down. They end up in the vineyard, and the sprinklers go off, and they're about to kiss. the dad is refusing to sell at first. But then Tyler talks to him and basically says, like, you need to have faith in her.
Yeah, I'm a
And,
father too, and this is,
yeah.
he's learning with his daughter. Yeah, I think it's, again, it falls back to me, they're the whole, like, yes, it tried to be an enemies to lovers situation. She was obviously taken with him from the beginning, and I think part of the reason that it felt so slow is because there wasn't like that. And I mean, there was the initial spark when they met, but the way that it went was like he was not interested. He was not open. He was not, the whole time. It was like not open, not open, not open, and then the groomsmen come in, and then it's like, okay, I'm open.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm gonna give it a shot. And
That's true. There really wasn't that like gradual buildup that you want to see. And the hard part about enemies to lovers too, she's just like, the hard part about enemies to lovers is you need to make that switch at just the right time. But they kind of made it too early in this. Like they were kind of fine with each other, like
they were fine.
pretty much right away. So that's why I was like, was it still? It was like kind of forced proximity. It was kind of, yeah, it was sort of like a rom-com looking for a trope. It didn't really have like that set trope, which I think hurt it and made it feel a little more meandering a little bit. But I mean, Italy looked beautiful. They're both beautiful people. The stuff with the daughter, I think, was pretty good. I liked the masquerade ball. So it was fun. It was a fun movie. But yeah, I'd probably give this. And then at the end, the reveal about the runaway bride was very cute, I thought. Yeah. And so then you see Tyler walking his daughter down the aisle.
Yeah. I felt like even at the end it was a little bit yeah. This one was a little bit harder for me, and I love all these actors individually and I loved them together. But yeah, this one was like this one was it was
It was just a little bit more. There just wasn't that strong trope, that strong script. The script wasn't as strong. But I did like at the end when they all give their toasts, and then you see that they had done this dance together in the first movie, and now you see it again in this third movie at the wedding, and it's so I would probably.
I also wanted the daughter to have a little bit more of a moment on her wedding day. And I
Mm,
felt like it was still about the groomsmen, which is part of it. But I was like,
yeah, I mean, she was telling the story for a long time. So she delayed that wedding a lot.
yeah.
It was a lot. But her guy, is this Milo, he does come back for her, and he's, like, tells her he loves her, and they play that video game. And where it says Milo loves Betty. And so I'd probably give this one a 3.5. I gave the first one a 3.75. Probably give this one a 3.5.
Yeah. I'd probably say I would say like 3.5.
Yeah. So let us know what you think of these three movies of the trilogy. We want to hear in the comment section. And I would still say I think this is better than the Wedding Veil movies. If you're comparing, I would rather watch these again.
I truly, for as much as I gave the third movie a hard time, I felt like I absolutely adored this trilogy.
Yeah.
Formula with it. I was engaged the whole time. I was invested in these characters. I love all of these actors, like to see them all together in a project like this. Like it was crazy.
Well, thanks for doing this with me. And where can people follow you and all your content?
You can find me on Instagram at The Savvy Scribbler and on TikTok at Story Tales.
And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really, really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, and that's the biggest way you can support us, and you can be part of watch-alongs and other cool events. Please take a look at that. And then we have the merch store. We have new designs, classic Christmas movie designs. We've got Grinch, we've got Home Alone, we've got Christmas Story, Die Hard, all in there. So please check it out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey. All right, we did it. Yay.